more fun with. I mean, I've done it. Well, I mean, Clockwork Orange was not. He didn't. I wasn't a baddie as such, but it was a nice character to play, and it was working with Stanley Kubrick, which was a big move in my career. It was quite funny because I went to see George Lucas about Star Wars. This is 1976, and I don't really remember. It was, we did Clockwork Orange, and I think it was 1970, and it came out very, very briefly in 1971. And I went to see George Lucas about Star Wars when he was starting to get everything ready, and I said to him, I said, well, you know, how did you know of me? And he said, I saw you in Clockwork Orange. He said, if you're good enough for Stanley Kubrick, you're good enough for me, you see. And which is lovely, yeah. And that's basically, you know, how Star Wars came along. But Stanley Kubrick was a very interesting director to work with. And, I thoroughly enjoyed working with him. He's a terrible, hard taskmaster. He's one of these people who will shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot, and shoot a scene 20 times, like, you know, and then probably use episode 1. Probably use one of the first few. Anybody else? Yes.
Is it true that George Lucas gave you the chance to choose between Chewbacca and Darth Vader?
Yeah. When I went to see him, first of all, he took me into a room about this size, and the room was full. All the way around the room were conceptual drawings from Star Wars. And he said, I'm doing this film called Star Wars. He said, like a space fantasy movie. And he said, I'd like to offer you one or two roles in the movie. Of course, I've been offered 2 parts in the movie, like, you know. And I said, what are they? He said, well, the first one's a character called Chewbacca. And I said, what's Chewbacca? He said, it's like a hairy gorilla. To the film on the side of the good guys, yeah. And all I could think of was 3 months in this sweaty gorilla suit, like I don't know, thank you very much. And I said, what's the other part, George? He said, well, the other one's the big villain of the film. I said, don't say anymore, George. I'll have the villain's part, thank you very much. He said, tell me why. And I said, well, if you think back on all the movies you've ever seen, where there are goodies and bad guys and things like this, I said, you always remember the bad guy. And he said, Dave, he said, I think you've made a very wise decision. He said, because nobody will ever forget Darth Vader. And here we are, 30 odd years later, traveling around the world on the back of Darth, as it were. Yeah. Funny enough, actually, with Peter Mayhew. Peter Mayhew obviously eventually came in. He did a film called Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger. And what happened there was, I did a film some time ago out in Portugal working for a guy called Andy Dinelli. And Andy Dinelli was a producer on Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger. And he rang me up and he said, Dave, he said, we're going to Spain to do this film, Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger, and we would like you to play the gorgon that comes out of the water. And I said, yeah, I'd love to do it. I would like a few weeks out in Spain, you know, it'd be very, very nice. And he then made an offer which was so bad. The offer was so terrible. I dismissed it straight away. Like, I said, no, I'm not coming out for that sort of money. Like, you know, you'd have to pay me a lot more than that to get me out to Spain. And anyway, then I didn't hear any more. Then there was an article came out in the papers, and it was all about Peter Mayhew, saying he was Britain's tallest hospital porter. He was a hospital porter, and he'd never done any acting or anything like this. But he was I think he was 7'4", and I think Andy Dinelli saw this article in the paper and thought, 7'4", he's obviously ideal for the part. So he took Peter Mayhew out to Spain to do this part in the play in Sinbad, and of course next thing I know, Peter's playing Chewbacca.
Did George Lucas come in contact with you?
No, not at all. I've had no contact with him whatsoever for years. No.
Oh, maybe they guest role.
No. I don't think I'm persona non grata with Lucas. I don't think they don't like me very much. Seriously. Well, they stopped me from doing any more of the Disney Star Wars weekend. And they've also stopped me from doing the Disney, not the Disney, the celebration conventions as well. So I missed the last one, and I'm missing this one as well.
Yes, what was the reason?
I don't know. It's probably something I've said. I probably said something, and he doesn't like it. Any more? Yes.
How does it feel to wear this Darth Vader costume? So it looks so heavy.
Yeah, well it is. It weighs about 40 pounds, yeah. It weighs about 20 kilos. And it's, but I mean, it's all made to measure though, so it's quite comfortable, you know, when it's on. But as I said, by the time you put all the armour, you know, which is all sort of plastic anyway, it's not metal or it's not metal armour. It's still.
Isn't it hot?
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, you sweat bucket, you ask him. He's probably sweating buckets under that, yeah. Any more? Anybody else? Come on.
When you first saw the costume, was it fitted directly to your body, into your face with a helmet, or
Yeah,
was it a finished costume?
No, I had to be measured up for it.
Okay.
Because as I said, it was all made to measure.
So it was not only the leg is too short, or
No, none of that. No,
Okay.
it was all made to measure. All made to measure. Yeah. Yeah, as I said, the biggest thing, the biggest problem was the helmet and the mask. You know, and it's you know, you put the mask on to start with, like, you know, you said move your head from left to right, and I did this, and the mask still stayed facing forward. And then so I said, well, it's obviously miles too big. And he said, no, and Lucas said, no, he said, it absolutely looks perfect. He said, your body size and all the rest of it. He said, the mask looks absolutely perfect. So what we do, we've had the whole of the inside out with foam rubber. And that's what we did. And so I just sort of slotted into it. And
sounds really like wearing a monkey suit.
yeah, well, yeah, very much. Yeah. Anybody else? Any young ladies at the back just come in. Any questions? Any questions?
Too shy.
Too shy. Yes.
Do your family like Star Wars?
No. Well, I would say they don't like it. They like it, but that's as far as it goes. So they're not people they want to go into. I've got two sons and a daughter and a wife. And I must forget her. But she, they enjoyed the movies when they first came out. But they're not these sort of people who will go and watch it time and time again. And my wife would never come with me anywhere. She doesn't like conventions, and I think she feels that Star Wars is too big an intrusion into our married life, as it were. And, because as I said, my whole life is revolved now about traveling all over the world. It's like last week I was in Orlando, the week before that I was in somewhere else, and next week I'm somewhere else. And I've just launched my autobiography, which I've got on the table down there. And I'm on a book tour in Great Britain, going around all the Waterstones branches, doing autograph signings in the branches every Saturday and Sunday. So that takes me away from home as well, every weekend, or most weekends. So it's it is very much an intrusion into married life, as it were. But no, they've never been absolutely fanatic about it. Actually, I got two grandchildren, my daughter, and the only time they show any interest is when the kids at school, where their schools, all know that their whatever relation I am to them, their grandfather, their granddad is Darth Vader, and they come with a great long list of names. They all want an autograph. But that's the only time that any real interest is shown.
How many days a year?
Yeah.
What do you see of Mülheim or Düsseldorf? There's a chance to see anything from the city here?
I doubt it.
Arrive, get in here.
It's just arrived yesterday, and we got the show today and tomorrow, and then I go back on first thing Monday morning. Crack a dawn Monday morning. So I shan't see much of Mülheim, I'm afraid. Yeah. I'd like to. Is there anything I ought to see while I'm here in Mülheim? What's Mülheim famous for? Is it famous for
I'm not
anything?
from Mülheim, but it's a really typical small German town.
Yeah.
So,
I think I've been to Düsseldorf before.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
How many days a year do you still spend on traveling for conventions and other stuff?
Well, it's got to the stage now where I'm almost working every weekend somewhere. I'm somewhere in the world, almost every weekend. It's a fantastic. If you look at my diary on my website, on my webpage, everybody looks at it and goes, oh my God, how are you going to manage all that one? I'm having problems at the present moment with the Waterstone bookstores at the present moment because they won't let me sell my photographs within the store. And they said, no, it's against our policy that you should sell your photographs. And I said, well, I come in to do the signings, the book signings. I said, but it's costing me a lot of money to all the travelling and the petrol and the paying the driver and the taxi and all to get me around to all these different places. And I said, well, you know, it's very easy for me just to sell a few pictures and we'll pay all my expenses. And they refused. They refused to let me sell pictures. So I don't know. I didn't think I'm going to be doing the book signings for much longer. But that's, I mean, that takes me away like every Saturday and Sunday, you know, as well. Any more? Where are we? Speak now. Yes.
Could you imagine to get rid of the role of Darth Vader?
Well, what, sorry?
Could you imagine to get rid of Darth Vader? Are you fed up with that?
No, it's a big thing. I mean, it's one of the major things that's happened in my life. You know, to play Darth Vader. I mean, when you consider I've now been Darth Vader for the last 30 odd years, 35 years. You know, so it's a wonderful, accolade to have. You know, to say that you were the original, you know, Darth Vader from the Star Wars. And it's done me the world of good as far as everything is concerned, really, because it enables you to do lots of things that you wouldn't normally be able to do. And on top of all that, as I said, you know, I come up and I do these conventions and I sell photographs and things like this. I usually tell people, I said it's like having the best pension in the world. Yes, I had to be able to go off and do these shows and sort of make a few bob every weekend and things like this. You know, so it really is. No, I'm eternally grateful. The other thing, of course, is Darth Vader helped me with fantastic help when I was the figurehead of the British government's Child Pedestrian Road Safety Campaign. And we had this campaign called the Green Cross Code. And I was the figurehead. I was just like a Superman character in a green and white suit. And but we used to we started the campaign when the road accident figures in Great Britain were running at 40,000 a year. 40,000 children a year were getting knocked down, injured, and killed on the roads in Great Britain. And I came into the campaign and we did 3 commercials a year for 5 years. That was 1976 right through until 1980. So that was five years of doing TV commercials. And then the Department of Transport also turned around and said, well, how would you like to go out and meet the children in the schools, go around the school giving a talk? So I prepared a talk, a 3/4 of an hour talk, teaching young children, this 4 to 11-year-olds, how to cross the road safely. And it was the most successful road safety campaign that there's ever been. And we actually halved the road accident figures in Great Britain. They went down from over 40,000 down to less than 20,000. And I said, if you added it all up, during the period that I was a Green Cross Code man, we actually saved something in the region of 250,000 children's lives. So I'm intensely proud of. But the campaign was so successful because all the kids knew that although I was stood up in front of them in my green suit, my green and white suit, all the kids knew that the Green Cross Code man was really Darth Vader, and it was Darth Vader talking to them about road safety. I used to finish the talks and I used to say, anybody got any questions you want to ask me? I never ever got one question about road safety. Every question I got was kids asking me, what was it like to play Darth Vader? What was Darth Vader like?
Have you been
eternally grateful?
Have you been the first Green Cross Code man?
The only one. The only one.
I saw a few things on YouTube. There were Kevin Keegan later, and
yeah, they had them in various road safety programs. They were using personalities at one stage, and then somebody hit on the idea of having this. There's like their own Superman character.
You wasn't
and
I
was it. Yeah. But I did it for, as I said, we did it for 14 years. Good campaign. I loved every minute. The best job I've ever had. I said, if somebody said to me tomorrow, how would you like to go on the road again with the Green Cross? I'd jump at it. I loved it.
You find a few things you find on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
There's a few Green Cross Code things on YouTube.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I still got the robot. I got the robot there in my shed at the bottom of the garden. Yeah. it's like my own R2D2 with it. Anybody else? Any more? Yes, at the back.
You worked also with Terence Fisher on the last Frankenstein movie back in the 70s.
He was lovely, lovely man.
Yeah. Can you tell us something about him?
Well, there's, I didn't have an awful lot to do with him, but he was very quiet and very nice to work with, and very, very caring and things like this. But it's, unfortunately, he died soon after. It was a great shame. But no, he was a lovely, lovely man. Anybody else? Yes.
We've heard a lot about your past now. What does the future hold for Darth Vader?
What does the future hold? Hang on. Well, I should be 77 this year, so I don't know how much of a future I've got in front of me. No, there's lots of things. I think, as I said, I'm getting involved. So I got an MBE from the Queen for services to road safety and charity, and I think I'd like to get a lot more involved in more charity work. And I think this is gonna happen with the. Well, I'm involved with a new road safety a road safety campaign aimed at young drivers. So I'm going to get involved with that. And we got the breast cancer and the prostate cancer association asking me to do things with them. I think there's going to be a lot of work that way coming up. But no, so you live from week to week, as it were, and you wait. See what offers come in, and I said, and I've always got the Star Wars convention to fall back on it. But yeah. Okay. All happy? Yeah. Everybody happy? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. Nice talking with you. Thank you very much. Always outwards.